on with her longer. Thank God.
Okay, bring the meeting to order.
Yeah, I think it is.
Larry is gonna be a little bit late, so he said we gotta get started. So is there any public comment? No public comment. Announcement of items to be discussed in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, the board will meet in closed session for conference with legal counsel for significant exposure to litigation pursuant to subdivision B of Government Code 54956.9, one case, and for conference with legal counsel regarding
Sorry, it's
exist-
wrong wording. We have the different subdivisions, sorry.
I'm sorry, subdivision D2 of 54956.9. And for a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation, the Grace Foundation of Northern California versus Wells Fargo Bank et al., case number 302012006128663CU-RCCJC, and to receive a report on claims.
With that, we're going to closed session.
Supervisor Chapman.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we pray this day for your ever-enduring guidance. We ask you to cloak us in wisdom and fortitude, that we may disperse our knowledge and facts intelligently among all humanity of whom we serve. Amen. Okay, welcome to our board meeting, and we'll start off with item B1, announcement of items discussed in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, the board met in closed session for a conference with legal counsel, significant exposure to litigation, one case. They also met for a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation, the Grace Foundation of Northern California versus Wells Fargo Bank et al., 302012006128663CU-RCCJC, no recordable action. And the board received a report on claims, and there was no reportable action.
So we'll move on to item B2, agenda approval, additions and/or deletions.
I just had one point. On the board's agenda, you will see item D3, Honey Lake Resource Conservation District's request to consider making appointments to their board. While we were formulating the agenda, we received correspondence from the executive secretary of the RCD that indicated that one of the members of that board would like to postpone that item because it was only, we had received official correspondence from the district as a body. I felt that we should leave it on the agenda even though we'd received a request from one member of that body to postpone it. I'm aware that there are certain time constraints involved in those appointments that they're requesting, and so I didn't want to jeopardize any potential action the board would take, so we left it on the agenda. But I wanted to point that out, that we had received a request from their secretary that one of the members of their board would like to.
Thank you. Okay. It's been moved for approval. Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, we'll move on to B3, public comment. I do have two cards here. If I'll take up these two first, and if there's any other members of the public who would like to comment on any matter, just raise your hand after we take up these first two. Hannah Tangeman.
Good morning.
Hi.
Look at the protocol. Am I supposed to say my name or address, or do I need to identify me? Ann Tanchman. I'm a resident on Wingfield Road. I just wanted to first share a couple letters with the board. One is my own, and one is by Jeff Withrow, who I think you have had as a speaker in here a number of times. And so, I missed the first letter, hang on. I'm here today because I want to start a dialogue on the diamonds. The Diamond Mountain Range that, you know, kind of looms over the valley. And it's something I've grown up with all my life, and it's part of our landscape. It's also part of, I think, our local economy in so many ways, whether you're a Main Street business, whether you're in the timber industry or any of those things. But what I've seen over the last, especially 20 years, is just the fuel load that's building up there. And I would like to see the board and our community engage a little bit in trying to resolve that. The Forest Service has two projects right now, the Diamonds East and West, that have kind of been started, but they're not moving forward as quickly as they could. And I know there's been a number of fires since I wrote this letter. I went in and met with Dave Hayes a couple days after I wrote that, but it was right before the fires started. So I've tried to engage with them as well. So I've seen so many of my neighbors out, you know, they've cleared their property, CAL FIRE's out inspecting, and right now Beatty is up there, they're doing the timber sale. Some of my neighbors that are very small properties, like 3 of them that have properties in the 10-acre range grouped together, they did a timber sale. Nagels has done something, Alina's, and it affects many homeowners, people up Old Archery, Goulburn, and then it certainly is going to affect the valley as well in terms of air quality if there's a fire. And I think just in terms of our economy, like if somebody's driving through town, are they going to stop and eat if they look up and all they see is, you know, kind of a desolated area? Or, you know, I think in terms like that. And just, I think, I printed out a few different websites that each of the diamonds, of course, I don't know how computers work, but the Lassen County website, which right here is a picture of Darwin Solace that doesn't print out, but anyway, I think he took it from his back deck, but it's across the diamonds. The chamber has the diamonds that go across behind this logo. We have Diamond Mountain Casino, we have Diamond Mountain Speedway, and then the actually one that did print out was Diamond Mountain Golf Course. So, you know, it's kind of an icon for our whole community. And so I'm here today to just let you know we need to give the Forest Service more courage. We need to encourage them. We need to motivate them. These projects, I think, are things that need to go forward. And, you know, I also want to just be so thankful for CAL FIRE and the fire that they put out about Janesville. And, you know, and my heart goes out to all the people up in the north area where the, you know, the really devastating fires have been. So I'd rather work now when we still have, you know, something to work for instead of trying to come in afterwards when we're dealing with the remains. And that side of it isn't very good either, because if you look at the Biscuit Fire in the southern part of Oregon, there's just thousands of acres that were decimated. And what's happened now is it's just been closed to the public because it's hazardous. And there's really not much going on. There's been litigation on both sides. So, you know, we have an opportunity now. I'd like to see us try and work toward getting some fire safe work done through there. And I know that Fire Safe Council is working, but I just think this is another opportunity for me to bring it to your attention and not the community. So,
Thanks.
anyway.
If I may, I'd like to respond a little bit. Bob and I sit on the coordination council where every month we meet, and I think it would be nice if you were able to attend one of those meetings, because there we have representation from the Plumas and the Lassen Forest, and where the whole timber harvest discussion is really held, and I've attended many of the biannual meetings in Sacramento with the Region 5 Forester, Randy Moore, and a representation from all the rural counties, and that is that the main topic of conversation is the lack of thinning of the forest and the fuels, and the fact of the matter is that I'm sure as a board we would all love nothing more than to see that area be thinned and well managed, but the amount of timber harvesting is minuscule compared to what it used to be. And it's mainly because of, you know, environmentalists that block the harvest. When there is a fire that goes through, they even tie up the salvage timber for so long. The timber is of no commercial value by the time it comes to sale. And those are the realities. I mean,
No, I
it is-
understand.
Yeah, and but I think the most meaningful way you could, you know, comment and is to, and the easiest is through those, attending one of the coordination council meetings, and maybe even one of the biannual meetings with the region, by Forest or Randy.
Well, if that's an invitation,
Yeah.
accept it.
Very
So
much
just
so.
let me know.
And I did bring that up in the coordination council meeting with Ann Carlson, and if I remember the conversation correctly, she said it was very steep terrain, it was low priority, it would have to be done cable logging, very expensive, low return, so it wasn't a high priority. But maybe we need to put it on the agenda and have it discussed here in this room.
With the
Well,
forest.
Supervisor Hayes has been here already to introduce himself, and he wants to have an ongoing dialogue. We've had several board supervisors, so I think it's an opportunity for us as a body to engage him at that level in terms of what the expectations of the community. We talk about our recreation economy, and I think the viewscape we have here in the valley is part of what we have to sell. And I think what Hannah brings up, that if it burns up and it's a black scar, that diminishes the ability to, get people to come and recreate in Susanville Ranch Park. So you're up there on those trails, and what do you look at? You look out and you see Thompson Peak, you see Diamond Mountain, and if they're burned up, they're gonna be less attractive, and so.
Why don't we have agenda item, to speak on that subject?
I think it might be wise to also invite the Plymouth supervisor, because we've got there's the line is right there at the top of the mountain. I think it's equally as important. So we could invite both of them to discuss.
So I think for them to just say, well, we can't or won't deal with it because it's too steep, I don't think that's a legitimate, there are means to, they talk about trying to create a healthier forest, and that's something that they are mandated under federal law is, you need to go in there and clean out that lower storage to keep it from.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I think what you're saying is
Habitat management.
what they're gonna reclaim from is not enough resources to pay for the cost. So
So the alternative.
it goes on the bottom of the list.
So the alternative is to let it keep building up to the point where it actually, Mother Nature takes care of it, and the investments in homes and property and the community all along the base of that range, for naught. I mean, I don't think that's an acceptable response.
I don't think it's acceptable either, but that is the excuse I
Well, we need to take that one on.
do it then.
I think it's it's not just this area. I think we heard at the coordination council that annual harvest of timber is somewhere around 7 or 8% of the annual growth. And so it's simple math, but it's going to overwhelm the system.
I mean, I agree, we should do what we can do, and at least get some publicity to show the people that, how mismanaged forests are.
So we sit back and let them do nothing, and then it burns, and then you have those steep slopes, and pretty soon you're gonna have a mudslide that comes off, and everybody down at the golf course and around is gonna be buried under 20 feet of crud.
It'll be a future agenda.
Thank you.
Believe me, if you want to be frustrated, go to those.
Oh, I've been to a lot of horse racing, but
And we still are advising you to come to the coordination.
there's a lot of excuses, but I'm just at the point where I want to try and do something now, because I'd rather work when there's an opportunity than work when there's just destruction, because at that point, I'm not going to be as motivated. But
Thank you, Hannah.
thank you.
Alrighty, I have a speaker card from Bethany Edholm, and also it says / Christy Myers. Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and the board. I'm Bethany Edholm, and this is Christy Myers from the Lassen County Public Health Department. I'm going to give these board members. So speaking of wildfires and mudslides, we are here today to invite you to an upcoming event that we will be holding on September 11th, the anniversary of the tragic terrorist attacks that took so many American lives and first responders 13 years ago. This event is the Lassen Disaster Preparedness Summit, and it will feature a remembrance ceremony to honor those lives lost, as well as hear the firsthand experience of a member of a team that deployed to New York to conduct debriefings with first responders who helped save lives. The remainder of the event, we are going to really focus on preparing our community for disasters that could happen in Lassen County. We'll begin with a dynamic speaker that will cover community preparedness and a powerful message about what our community already does to prepare for community resilience. And that speaker is going to be the Deputy Director of Emergency Management from San Francisco, and he has graciously been willing to come to speak to us in Lassen County. We are then going to answer the question of what are the most potential and dangerous threats to Lassen County. We conducted a hazard vulnerability assessment in 2012 to highlight what are the top hazards to public health within our county based on our mitigation efforts and the likeliness that they would happen. Those hazards have been identified as emergent disease, wildfire, and a mass casualty incident caused by a hazardous material spill. So this session is going to be a facilitated discussion by subject matter experts on those hazards. We have also included active assailants, similar to an active shooter incident, that we would like to highlight in this panel discussion for the community, because we have really identified that as something that could happen here, and we want to highlight recent efforts that Lassen County has conducted to mitigate an incident of this type. In our event's afternoon session, we would like to learn from neighboring counties' responses to disasters that have impacted them. So we have invited Glenn County to come and do a presentation on the accident between the FedEx truck and the charter bus of high school students that happened in Orland earlier this year. That was a very big response that a lot of partnerships were involved in and mutual aid. So they're going to be giving an after-action report and presentation on lessons learned and successes and setbacks from that incident. So along with these highlighted presentations that you will see on the flyer that is to be handed out to you, we will also be featuring some concurrent breakout sessions for the public to choose from. There'll be 3 options. One will be to choose from a session about volunteering in our community. It is our hope that we have so many people in Lassen County that really come together in times of crisis, and we really hope that we can give some structure and guidance to how those people can come together to volunteer so that they can be effective in their good deeds and not become a burden during a time of disaster, but rather a great help. Another alternate session will to focus on the effects of trauma in disasters for our first responders and our community members. It's critical that we provide guidance and support for people in times of a disaster for our community, for those that have experienced disasters firsthand, and also for those that experience it secondhand by helping others. The third session that will also be open to the public is a special breakout session that we have included that is going to be geared toward our community's elected and senior officials. I'm going to turn it over to Christy, and she's going to give you a special invitation to this particular breakout session, and the invitation is also included in your handout.
As she said, my name is Christy Myers, Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for Lassen County Public Health. The event is going to be dynamic. We're hoping to have a huge turnout from the community. We have a lot of people already pre-signed up that are going to be there. The committee that put this together, just a little background, is not just the 2 of us. It's involving quite a few different response agencies, law enforcement, fire, medical, and all of those folks as well. The special invitation in the little package that you guys received is for one of the concurrent breakout sessions. This one, as Bethany said, is open to the public, so everybody is welcome to join us, but it's really designated for senior officials and elected officials to further understand and learn their role during a disaster. We know that a few of you have been through declarations, one recently, so you probably have that on the tip of your brain of kind of some of the processes that you had to go through. But what we're really excited to have is Mr. Dudgeon, the Emergency Services Director for San Francisco, come and speak to our elected officials, our senior management, everybody in a decision-making position about exactly what the responsibilities are, what your role would be, what would be expected of you, what you can expect from us as responders and as the agencies that would be responding to disasters. And there's a little card in here, and he has a statement that I encourage you to read. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but at the very end he does say that a friend once told him, you got the fame, you get the blame. And so we want to just bring that to light, because during a disaster, although we're going to be on the ground working and cleaning up the messes, you guys are the ones that are going to be speaking and being held accountable for all of the stuff that we do. And so through this session, we'll learn more about the ICS structure, how that works, why we use it, why the response agencies use it. A little bit more also about disaster service workers, which we all are as government employees. And just all of the policy stuff that you guys need to know that isn't on your everyday agenda of wanting to read about. So he's going to really break it down for you. Like I said, it is open to the public, so everybody's welcome to join. We really hope that you guys will be there. We really, really hope that you can spend the whole day with us. I know an entire day is a lot to spend, but it'll be well worth the time. We will serve you lunch, so it's a little extra incentive.
Are you taking RSVPs now?
We are. On the invitation that you received on this little flyer, there is, if you go to our website, there's a link on there. You push on the link and it registers you. So we'd like to have everybody pre-registered, although we know that your time's very, very important and limited. So if you can only show up to that special session, please show up. Don't not come because you can't come to the whole day. If you can pre-register and spend the whole day with us, it's going to be absolutely outstanding information. The Orland bus crash after action, we've seen it before. It's really interesting because it incorporates all response up to the government level of how that was dealt with and ultimately who paid the bill in the end for that. So it's something that we can all learn from. I think that you guys will really enjoy it if you come. So any other questions before we?
What's the website?
The website is lassencountyhealth.org. And we'll hand out some of these flyers to you guys as well. There's a little QR code if you're tech savvy and know how to scan it. I don't. So. And like I said, lunch will be included. It's going to be at the Veterans Hall. We felt that that was an appropriate place for an event such as this. The remembrance ceremony is going to be very, very moving. It'll be a great way to set off the day and kind of spend that day together as responders and as staff and the agencies and volunteers and everybody involved to learn from each other and learn from the great presentations. So, any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you guys there.
Is there anyone else who would like to talk under public comment?
Boy, I don't want to sit in your lap, but you know, chair down.
Good morning. Thank you for recognizing me. My name is Diane McCain. I was reading the paper this morning, and on the editorial, it had, I don't think it's editorial of Sam Williams and the group, and it had mentioned something about grand jury report. And I was looking for the grand jury report, and it's always interesting to have, to read it, because it's an investigative committee that looks into citizens' complaints. And I was wondering, does anybody know where it's at?
Well, it was included as a supplement with the paper today.
It wasn't there? Mine?
I'm happy to give you mine.
Okay.
I don't have it with me, but there's a paper laying around somewhere. Maybe Rick has one.
I'll go out and look for it.
I believe it was a supplement to the paper.
I was looking for it.
There you go.
I have a copy of that.
All right, anyone else? Okay. All right, we're going to quickly take up unagendized board reports. We'll start off with Supervisor Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just quickly, we had several meetings this past week. The pool board met last Tuesday afternoon, and there was an item on today's agenda we'll be talking about the progress that's being made there. The city council had its meeting Wednesday night. The mental health or behavioral health advisory board met last evening. I had a chance to attend that after about a 2 or 3 month absence, and I'm really excited to see that they are energized. So they're still recruiting for members in the community to participate, and a lot of folks may think it's something they wouldn't want to be involved in, but I think it's an important one to be involved in, and it's an exciting group, and we have some great things going on in these departments. So, and also, we attended yesterday the LAFCO meeting, and that was a good discussion. Quickly, that was past week.
Thank you. Supervisor Hall.
Sure, thank you. After today's meeting, I'm going to be going down to Sacramento for the RCRC meeting, so I will not be attending the tour we have out at Creek Ward Lake Pit. And then kind of going back to Hannah with her deal, I was up on my Forest Service allotment, I was moving my cows, and even though it's in Lassen County, it's under the jurisdiction of the Mohawk Forest. And I was moving my cows, and I come across these tree markers. They were out there and was doing their thing, so I checked in to see what they were doing. And they were going in, they already had this timber sale marked, but they were going in and they were blacking them out. So the trees, I'm asking, how come? He said, well, the new forest supervisor, they wanted to block out everything that was over 30 inches tall, or 30 inches around PBH. And I'm like, well, why is that? Well, she's afraid of the environmental lawsuits. So that's another thing that could come in. And I said, well, all they're gonna do is die in a couple of years. And they said, well, that's okay because, we need to have 3 dead trees per acre. That's their goal for wildlife habitat. And I mean, that's the stuff we're dealing with, guys. It really is. It's sad. And they're being shackled by all it takes is one first-class postage stamp to shut down these huge timber sales. It's the environmental rules that are killing us, and the lawsuits that everybody's afraid of, that the Forest Service and the DLN have to deal with, for fear of lawsuits from the environmentalists. So anyway, just food for thought. That's it.
Thank you. Supervisor Hammond.
On August 26th, Mr. Egan and myself, and possibly Mr. Wasik, will be attending the Washoe County Board of Commissioners meeting at 11 o'clock with Sierra Army Depot. Sierra Army Depot is, for the first time, going to give a presentation to the Washoe County Board. It's a huge achievement. It took a little bit of work, but we got it. They're going to throw their full support behind the base. And I really thank the effort that you put out, Richard, in making this thing come to fruition. We have a lot of in-kind issues with them, such as water and law enforcement and stuff, and I think that we can start a dialogue with them that I don't know what's been there in the past. I don't know that or not. But this is an opportunity for us to get it started.
We actually had a joint meeting with the Washoe Commission. It's been a few years, but they mainly were interested in having a meeting when they were wanting to get that road off of Red Rock, the Lassen County portion from 395 to the state line, because they have a lot of folks who live there on Red Rock, and it was faster for them to come out to the highway and come around and take the other route back to town. Of course, that road. So we've had collaboration with them, but also we butted heads with them over the water exportation issues too, so
Yes.
the growth and everything.
Yes.
So I think it's healthy that you can have that meeting, and that's a good start.
And it's nice that the Army Depot is going to give them a presentation of what they actually do out there.
And for several years in the pass-around file, I haven't seen one in there lately, but we usually get their agendas for their meetings. They send it to us. That was an outgrowth of those meetings we had maybe 10 years ago.
Well, I'd like to continue those.
Unfortunately, that's on a regular board day.
Yes.
For the Board of Supervisors, so what I was hoping to do is try to make that agenda such that we could cancel that meeting and move things either forward or back, so that Supervisor Hammond, Wasik, and I could attend that, so.
Sounds good.
Well, they have their meetings, they have 2 meetings a month, and they go from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. and I tried to get us on in the evening, but they said we'd get more bang for our buck going in the daytime. So that's why we had to make that 11 o'clock meeting. And also on the 20th, I'll be at Levitt Lake having a town hall meeting, and Richard, if you would like to attend that with me, that would be good. It's at 7 o'clock at the fire department. That's the extent of my public.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, myself and Mr. Regan attended the Emergency Medical Care Committee meeting on Thursday. The main topic of discussion was we're putting together a new RFP. The current ground ambulance provider extended the contract in about a year from now. So Mr. Narad, Dr. Narad, out of Chico, who we hired to put together a new RFP. That was pretty much the discussion of the meeting. So I'm moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I continue to enjoy the pool meetings with Supervisor Chapman, and we've made a lot of progress the last couple of meetings. We've selected a new site, with the problems we had with the first selection. The 800 South Street site, we have a little bit of items that pertain to that on our agenda today. So that's good news. The site's been located and we'll be quickly moving forward. LAFCO, I also attended, as Supervisor Chapman mentioned. One of the main topics on there was the